It's time today for the fourth and final part of my E&M coding series. Welcome back everyone, it's Victoria, and today we're going to have the fourth and final part of my E&M coding series. We're going to cover time and then putting it all together. If you're new to my channel, I'm Victoria. I'm a medical coder, auditor, educator, blogger, YouTuber, and national speaker. On this channel, I discuss tips, tricks, tutorials, news, and things going on in medical coding and the healthcare business industry. So let's talk about time. They say time is money, and that is absolutely true in evaluation and management because the more time providers spend, the more they tend to get reimbursed. All of our leveled E&M services have a time component, so if you're not coding based on history, exam, and medical decision making, you can code based off of time. It's beneficial when providers are having a significant amount of time and conversation that they're spending with that patient to bill based off of time. However, in order to bill based off of time, more than half of that time has to be spent in counseling and coordination of care. So for example, a CPT code 99205, a new patient level 5 office visit, has a time threshold of 60 minutes. So in order to bill it based off of time, more than half of it has to be counseling and coordination of care. So at least 31 minutes would have to be counseling and coordination of care, and the documentation also has to support what was counseled or coordinated. Did you have to call and set up a nursing home room or bed? Did you have to talk to the patient about new medications that they're on, new diet regimens, explain things to their caregivers, coordinate all that care, or counsel the patient about maybe a new disease or some sort of new treatment plan that they're on? And currently, for office and outpatient visits, that has to be face-to-face time. So some CPT codes, some E&M codes, you'll notice are face-to-face time, like office visits. So that total time has to be face-to-face time spent with the patient, provider and patient looking at each other face-to-face. In like the hospital and inpatient setting, it's unit floor time. So the total time is the time that that provider spent on that patient's unit and floor. So they don't have to be specifically in that room talking to the patient. They could be out, at the nurse's station doing notes or what have you, or calling up, a skilled nursing facility because they're transferring them and coordinating that care. But that has to be on that unit or floor. If they're down in the physician's lounge, then that doesn't count. Now in 2021, time is going to completely change for office and outpatient visits. What factors into time is going to change. The time numbers are going to change. So instead of being an approximate time, it's going to be an exact time. So definitely keep an eye out for those changes for the office outpatient time components for 2021. So putting it all together, when we're looking at picking an E&M service, one of the first things we have to know is location. Were they in a nursing facility, office, emergency room, inpatient hospital? What was the location? And in some of those, we have to know things like, was it a new patient versus an established patient? And we talked about that new patient is a patient who hasn't been seen by that group and that specialty within the past 3 years. And it could be things like, is it an initial visit? Is that first admission to the hospital? Is it the discharge from the hospital? So those are things that factor in. And there is one cool thing I want to show you in your CPT book. So let's grab that and take a look. Now in the front of the AMA edition of the CPT book, there are evaluation and management tables. And they show you the different types, office or other outpatient services, new patient, and it requires how many of the components? 3 of the 3. So if we wanted to code, for example, a 99204, we would need a comprehensive history, a comprehensive examination, and then medical decision making of moderate complexity. We would need all 3 of those components at minimum to meet that 99204. Or we could code based off of time, which shows us it is 45 minutes total face-to-face time. So there's lots of cool tables that you can find here that will show you what's the required number of components, is it new versus established, and then what are those key component requirements and time requirements. So if I score out my note and I go, oh, I've got an expanded history, a detailed exam, and a moderate level decision making, and it's a subsequent hospital visit, I could go to this grid and go, okay, so I've got the expanded history, didn't meet the detailed exam, and I have that moderate decision making, so I can at least hit a 99232. So it's 2 out of 3 components. So even though we had that detailed exam, we didn't also have a detailed history or a high medical decision making in order to code it to a 99233. So now let's take a look at a sample note together. So here we have an established patient office visit. Patient's coming in for foot pain. This 32-year-old female comes in again still having not got a primary care physician. She said she was at Dr. XYZ's office today for her appointment, and they canceled her appointment, so she is here today to get something for the pain in her foot. Okay, so we have a location. The problem is in her foot. I did notice that she went in to see Dr. XYZ for a primary care physician appointment on January 14th of 2019. She says she does not have a primary care physician. She was in here just last week and saw Dr. XYZ for back pain and was put on pain medicines and muscle relaxers. So maybe if we'd have had, that they took this pain medicine or muscle relaxer and it made it better or worse, or what the outcome of that was, we could have counted this as a modifying factor. Maybe it'll be down here somewhere, but so far, just the fact that she was on pain meds and muscle relaxers doesn't actually count yet for a modifying factor. She has been in here multiple times for different kinds of pain. The pain she's having is in her foot, so we already have our location. She had surgery on it and has plates and screws. Okay, so we could count that as some past history. She had plates and screws placed in her foot. She said she was supposed to see Dr. XYZ about getting some hardware out of it. The appointment was canceled and that's why she came here. It started hurting a lot yesterday. Duration. How long that patient has had that problem. She's been hurting a lot since yesterday. But she had this previous appointment with Dr. XYZ, so she thought she would take care of it there, but they would not see her. She did not injure her foot in any way recently. Okay, so we could maybe count that as a little bit of context. There wasn't an injury to the foot. It is chronically painful. Chronically is a descriptor. That's chronically painful. We could count that as a quality. Count here, quality. We're already, look at this, we're already at our extended history, our extended history of present illness. Every time she does very much exercise, it hurts more, so that's even more context. We have x-rayed it in the past. She has some hardware there. It doesn't appear to be grossly abnormal or causing any loosening or problems on x-ray. So interesting, the provider here doesn't have like a review of systems section, so we're just going to have to abstract what we can from the HPI. So we definitely have some musculoskeletal because there was pain in her foot. Let's see. Musculoskeletal. And I don't know that we got anything here about constitution even. There's a lot of stuff about her missing her primary care physician appointments and that getting canceled and her having hardware, but there really wasn't else much along the lines of a review of systems. All right, well, let's go on to our physical exam. Examination of the foot. So show some well-healed surgical scars. So that would actually be our integumentary system because that's a skin thing, the scars. So let's move down here to our exam. We have scars for skin. We could even count one extremity because we've got the foot here. So we've got ×1 so far. On the top of her foot she has 2, and then lateral aspects below her ankle she has a long scar. They're old and surgery was done over a year ago. She was walking with a very slight limp. There's no redness, no heat, no swelling. Okay, so the limp would actually be gait, which would be musculoskeletal. The swelling would be cardiovascular. It is mildly tender around the medial side of the foot, just inferior to the medial malleosus. It is not warm or red. So the assessment is foot pain. Okay, let's flip around to our diagnoses and treatment option stuff. So it looks like we have one new problem. We're not doing any additional x-rays. The plan here says that she might have significant pain, so they're giving her some prescription drug medicine to take with a refill. So we've got one new problem, no additional workup. We have prescription drug management. Okay, so we have prescription drug management. That's probably the highest level of risk we're gonna get here because we don't have anything really that's a severe exacerbation. She's not gonna lose her foot. There was no major surgery options that were considered. We didn't really review any data here, so we actually have like no data points. So we have the 3 or multiple, highest risk is moderate, so that automatically brings us to moderate even though we have the low amount of data reviewed. So okay, moderate medical decision making. We have 1 history, 1 review of systems. So that brings us to our lowest level would be expanded problem focused. And our exam here we have 1 extremity and 1, 2, 3 organ systems. So we can count that as expanded problem focus. We have expanded, moderate. So when we look at our office outpatient, we only need 2 of the 3. Expanded comes over to the 3 column for the history and exam. We do have at least a low level of decision making. We actually have moderate, but since we don't have the detailed history and exam to back that up, we can't code it as moderate, but we do at least meet the 99213. So this would be a 99213 established patient office visit. So that's kind of the bulk of the basics of how to select a level of service for E&M services. Some of the score sheets that you can find have nice little grids on them too of what the requirements are for the history exam, medical decision making time. I've even seen some places make really great pocket cards. I think the American Academy of Family Practitioners has some that you can buy that are really cool and handy dandy, and of course now with 2021 they're going to be changing a little bit. Speaking of the 2021 changes, I wanted to share with you guys that I just finished my evaluation and management coding course. It is approved for 2.5 CEUs. I'm going to be selling it for $49, but I am doing an early bird special just for my YouTube fans because I love you guys so much. So if you check the link below, there's going to be a big discount that you're not going to want to miss on this evaluation and management coding course. It's going to go over some of the stuff that we covered here already, but a little bit more in depth of E&Ms, the histories, the medical decision-making components, times, all that cool stuff. Plus, it's going to have case studies, and we're going to do all of the 2021 changes. So everything's soup to nuts. It's going to change according to the AMA for 2021. How to prepare you for that. And then we're going to code some cases based off of current guidelines and then 2021 guidelines and see what the difference is and how they might potentially change in levels or might not change in levels. So if you need training on those 2021 changes, do not miss out on my YouTuber discount that is linked below. So go through a couple of histories, go through a couple of exams, go through a couple of medical decision makings, get comfortable with each area and scoring them out, and then start putting them together. And find out some of the score sheets or audit tools that pertain to your area. Get them laminated and use them again and again. So funny story I have to tell you. I was giving a coder a refresher once on evaluation and management coding, and he goes, yeah, can you remind me, when we code for evaluation and management services, are you guys still using like those Dungeons and Dragons scorecard things? Oh my God, I almost peed my pants and fell on the floor. It's so true though, because they are very much like a Dungeons and Dragons sort of methodology of picking out your level of service. So I hope you found these videos helpful. I've actually got a playlist built now of all of my E&M stuff, and if I do any more, I'll definitely add it in. As always, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up, and don't forget to like and subscribe to help support my channel. I will see you in the next video, and until then, just keep on coding on.